me to be cool, but I was unable. It was on the table. I couldn't even breathe. How the hell did I know if I believed in thee?
Hello everyone, we're here today with another great artist. Everybody, Liz Owen. How are you doing, Liz?
I'm good. Have you?
Good to have you with us in our podcast. Thanks very much for coming. When did you start your musical journey? How did it start?
I was 11 when I started playing guitar, and the only reason I wanted to do it because I wanted to look cool. That was it. And then as soon as I picked it up, I was like, it's fucking hard. I was like, this is going to take more than like the 5 minutes that I thought. It was difficult, and obviously I was. How old are you is it your last year of primary school when you were 11 or something?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Oh, I don't know. I can't. It's too long ago. But I got taught my first few chords by this lovely teacher called Miss Lucas. I'll never forget her. I think it was like for free after school. She had like guitar club, and me and a couple of other kids would just come and she'd just do like half an hour to an hour or something.
Wow.
And just taught us some chords. So like my first kind of few chords, like your basic chords that everyone kind of starts with, or most people start with. She taught me. And after that, it's just going to sound like I was so up myself, but it wasn't. It was because I don't have any theory. I don't know what's going on. Like, if it sounds good, I'll do it. If it doesn't, I'll do something else. Yeah.
That's it. That's how it is.
Right. It's trial and error, really. Like, the people who know theory, for me, are like wizards. I'm like, that's incredible. But for me, I'm just like, But yeah, so I thought, it sounds bad, I thought I was inventing chords. I thought I was some sort of genius when I was about like 13. I was like, wow. Because obviously I was just sort of working things out. If it sounded right, I would then be like, okay, that works. Keep that in my head and then carry on. So yeah, I thought that I was some sort of, guitar Einstein and that I was creating chords. And then I came crashing down to earth later on and I was like, oh yeah, they already exist. Yeah. But then I just carried on. I didn't I think I played in front of people for the first time when I was like 16, and it was like an open mic night in Chester at Alexander's, and there was about 3 people in the audience and 1 person on the bar, and I was shit scared. I was so scared. And there was this, one of the people who was watching was this like dead lovely American guy who said to me, he was just like, oh my God, you're like my new favourite vocalist. And then since then I was just like, oh, this is what I want to do. Like, this is what I want to do. And it was just sort of like I caught the bug. I've clearly got a very fragile ego that needs feeding, but I've got the bug.
You talked about the first time experience. Tell us a bit more. Like, how was it and how did you overcome that kind of I assume that there will be some kind of an anxiety that comes to you.
Oh, massive. Oh my God. It took years to get over that. Like, I used to throw up before I went on stage and stuff,
Wow.
like bigger gigs and things. It wasn't pretty. But it was that, I don't know, like you start to learn that everyone in the audience wants you to do well. Like, you'll never go to a gig and think, oh, I hope they're dead. Do you know what I mean? You never look at an audience, look at an artist and go, I hope they fuck off. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I hope they sing a bum note. Or, everyone, you sit there and you're enjoying it because you're appreciating somebody else's skill that isn't your own. And you've turned up to watch that person or those people because it's a lovely positive experience and it's a nice thing to do. Like, so I think it seems so simple, but once I kind of just learned to enjoy it and literally just sort of breathe through the nerves and stuff, and once you kind of get your head around the fact that everyone's sat there looking at you, be it 5 people in that bar or whatever, or 5,000, they all want you to do well, they're all vouching for you. Now I feel more anxious waiting for a bus than I do on stage. I'm sort of like, that's now it's my safe place. But that's just me.
That's how it happens, I assume. Like, it becomes, as you said, your safe place after a while because you feel comfortable.
You're in control of it. Like, it's your,
absolutely.
It's songs that I've written, and at the end of the day, no one really knows my music that well at the moment. So if I no one knows because they don't know the song.
So tell me about the time that you started music. So was it kind of gradual kind of thing that you grew into music, or was it like a couple of events that happened and you went to like a show or something and you realized, oh yeah, music is my thing and I want to do it for the rest of my life?
I think I started off by like, it was really strange. Like in like my teenage years, all I listened to was Iron Maiden, just metal, mostly Maiden. I was really obsessive. But then that never translated to what I was playing on guitar at all. Like I was writing these like fingerstyle classical pieces, but I wasn't listening to that. So like, I don't really know, like I ate like so many cold dinners when I was a kid because like my mum would be like, Liz, dinner's ready. And I'd be like, in a minute, I just need to get this right. And she'd be like, okay, I'll leave that to you then. So like, it was just, I became like really upset. This is when I was a kid. Like if anyone tried to make me do this, it wouldn't have worked. I'd have been like, no. But it was, I don't know, it was challenging, but it was a kind of challenge that I was like, I feel like I've got this. And then as I carried on, I started like just really, I don't know, just really like enjoying how the instrument sounds and the sounds that I can make from it. And it just became, it was a gradual thing, but I was obsessed with it from the off. And like, this is going to sound so mad. I came up with these like exercises that I would do, so I'd have to do it like perfectly 10 times. And if I screwed it up on the ninth
What kind
time,
of exercises?
just like finger picking exercises and everything like that. Like I would kind of come up with things. Like I was a proper drill sergeant with myself. Like I wouldn't let myself get away with anything. And I was only like, this was from the age of like from 11 to the age of 15. I was like that. Imagine if I was crap now. That would be so funny. No, but it was, yeah, so it was kind of this like obsessed, I was definitely obsessed with it. Like it wasn't even healthy. But I just knew that it was a part of me and I just had to keep chasing it because it was so much fun and so hard, but rewarding as well. And then I started, before I even like thought about singing, I was just composing these pieces and then I ended up like going to like local like a local folk festival or something. I mean, this is going back some, so I can't remember, but or like going to like little open mics and stuff in pubs when I was like 16 or 15, but all I would do is just silently just play guitar. Like I couldn't talk to anyone. I was not confident like I am now. I was very much like, oh my God, this is so nerve-wracking. But then other musicians would be like, oh, you can play guitar and you're like really young, what's going on? And it was talking to other musicians, and because other people put so much confidence in me, because when you're told that you're good by somebody who can already play, that means everything, especially when you're young.
100%.
Because you've got no kind of...
Bring some kind of validation.
Oh, God, so much. Because when you're just used to playing in your bedroom in front of nobody, making that step to kind of go into the outside world, you feel this
Expose
big.
yourself, of course.
Yeah,
absolutely. In your situation, that's my assumption though, correct me if I'm wrong, your parents' roles were very crucial somehow because they allow you to grow. I think for every musician it is crucial, their parents' role. But so how did it happen for you? What was their reaction when you started showing interest toward music? Did they say, okay, music is great, but get a 9-to-5 job? Or they said, no, like do whatever you want to do and be yourself. How did it happen?
So my parents, like when I was, the first guitar I ever learned on was my auntie's old classical, and the action on the strings was really high, like the strings were really far from the neck, is what I mean. It was difficult to play. And then when my parents kind of realised that, yeah, she's not just going to forget about guitar, she's not just going to put it down, then they bought me my first one, which is like my first steel string. It was like a Fender knockoff from Costco.
Okay.
And the fret bars started peeling off the neck, and so the intonation was all drunk and it sounded really weird as soon as I played past the 5th fret, and then bless them, but it was all they could afford at the time. Do you know what I mean? They did everything they could in those stages, but then the next guitar was one that they bought me as well, and again they were only cheap guitars, but they, you know, it was always that kind of inspiration and that faith. And my my mum always said to me that, like, you know, she always had nothing but faith, and, you know, so it's really important.
You have to have like some kind of faith in yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Do you tie yourself to one specific genre when you want to create music, or when you want to write a song, you just keep your mind open, let it flow, let it happen? How does it happen?
It's 'cause it just happens.
Okay.
No, it's like if I don't know, I guess the way that I approach a song it tends to differ anyway. Sometimes I'll get like a lyric in my head and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I can make that sound. Is that like a bridge or is that a chorus? What is that? Then I'll sort of work around it. Other times I'm just dicking around with my guitar and something will kind of stick and I'll go, ooh, that sounds great. And then I'll see. But sometimes I'll write a song backwards. Sometimes I'll start from the middle and work outwards. Like it just, I don't know, the approach is always different. It just depends on the day, I guess.
From the time that I start, for example, start playing piano to the time that, like, down the line in 20 years, I'm still playing piano. I'm still a pianist, right?
Yeah.
So when can I call myself a singer, a songwriter, a pianist, a guitar player? When is that time? The first day?
It's impossible, isn't it? I think if you're doing it as a job, I think that kind of helps.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's like,
so you would say like someone else paying you to do it as a job would be a determining factor that...
I think only because that's because it becomes a job title then, doesn't it?
Sure.
But I think when it comes to like how you like self-definition,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, like I would say that I'm a guitarist just because I've been doing it for so long, but I'm still just someone who plays guitar, you know?
Okay.
It's like, am I a songwriter or is it just someone who writes songs? Like, I don't know. I never really put that much importance on it. I just think, because it's how other people see you, I think is more important.
Yeah, I agree. If you're definitely doing it as a job and someone else is paying you to do it, do you feel any kind of pressure from music industry, from social media, that you have to look in certain ways, say certain things, behave in certain way?
Sometimes I think that when it comes to like video quality and stuff, I've got a crappy phone, man. Like I've got a crappy phone, and like so when you're posting kind of videos of like songs that you've just written or something else, and it kind of like it looks a bit shit. It's like, oh, that doesn't really compare to this kind of standard that other people are posting, and it's like. Looks like this was filmed in like 2004. Like I'm gonna lose followers.
That's a kind of look for itself.
Yeah,
that could be some kind of a vintage look.
Don't say 2004 is vintage, obviously. But like no, it's I think like when it comes to like how frequently you post, obviously you post too much, people are gonna be like, this is you're bombarding me, and because I don't follow people who post too much because I get overwhelmed. But I think. Also, if you're just talking, like, just like we are now, it's just me chatting to you. And if you're sort of talking into your phone and talking to your fan base, whoever the extended people beyond that.
Sure.
Like, there is always that kind of like, oh, I really hope people like me sort of thing. Because if you're just being you and just being genuine, I guess, and not having any kind of front, if people don't like that, or if people respond negatively just to who you are as a person, like I think it takes part of the industry is being able to just not think about that and not like anything, when you're in the public eye, you've got like kind of like a social media kind of platform, you have to kind of care what people think but also not care what people think at the same time.
So how do you manage your social media presence?
Poorly.
So do you have like a schedule, post once a day?
God, no.
Or once a week? Or how does it happen? How do you manage it? And do you think it's important?
It is important. I'm really bad at it.
Say it quietly.
Like, I am.
Why bad at it?
I mean, like, 'cause I will just forget to post, or I'm like, and I've never been able to use Twitter, for instance. I still don't understand it. It's been a platform for ages.
To be honest with you, I just got on it maybe less than a year ago myself. It seems to be a very legit platform.
I make sure that I post at least every month, which sounds so
every month.
shit.
Okay.
If I've got a gig, I'll make sure that I mention it. I kind of feel like from where I started, musically, like social media was kind of social media was kind of important.
How's that going? Okay. Baby.
Social media, importance of it, stuff like that.
Okay, so you are posting once a month.
No, like I'm like, well,
kind of.
I don't know. It's because
what I love about you, that you're so present. It's a lot of the times that you meet people that like mentally they're somewhere else. The physical body might be here, but mentally they're somewhere else, and you can tell that they're not present right here.
Yeah.
But you're so present right now.
Thanks. I mean, I can only focus on one thing at a time.
By the way, that's a positive. By the way, that's a positive thing.
No, thank you. That's very nice.
Okay, you were saying.
I do think about the future. I think I do worry about it to an extent. I think like, but all you can really do is things now. You know, all you can deal with is like the literal moment that you're in to try and help the future. You know, there's no point in worrying about it, but just sitting in bed all day going, oh no, what's gonna happen? You know, so
very true.
Because I'm recording my album at the moment.
Are you? Wow.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Okay. It's been a long time coming. Like I was 18 when I wrote one of the songs on there, because I've been wanting like a full arrangement on it for such a long time, and now I'm getting the chance to. But like, I've had to like stop over the Christmas period because I was so poorly. Like I just kept on getting every illness known to man. But yeah, now back in on Friday, actually, back into the studio so I can keep the ball rolling.
Sounds amazing. Yeah. So album of how many songs?
12.
How long did it take to get all those songs together? Do you release any singles in between?
When the recording's all finished, I will probably release a single off it.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm still in the kind of bare bones of it at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, it's...
Then are you planning to release it?
I was originally hoping for like the end of summer, but...
End of summer, okay.
I'm not sure now because I've been sick as a dog. So I'm about 2 months behind.
Okay.
So I'm not sure.
Summer, like
summer
around the end. How do you manage to respond to comments? For example, if somebody comes and says something, maybe criticism, constructive, maybe not constructive. How do you handle those things? How do you suggest, or do you want to handle them? Because sometimes the way that we want to handle them is way different than what we actually do.
I don't know. If someone says anything negative, I just put like, thanks, hon. Thanks. Like I don't really care. Like it's because you can't please everyone all the time. Like
absolutely.
You know. I'm not going out into kind of like the social media world trying to upset people or do anything. I'm just sharing a bit of me, a bit of how I sound. You know, and if it's not going to be for everyone, and that's okay. You know, some of the world's most revered artists like can completely split people's opinions, and I think that if you are the kind of person, like any kind of art, if it splits opinion and gets people talking, then it's probably in a sense quite good, you know, because also it doesn't really, if everyone's just going like, oh Liz, you're amazing, oh my god, like the whole time, then it's not, I'm not going to grow, you know.
As a human being, we actually grow through our failures and
completely. You have to fail to succeed, I think. Absolutely. I mean there's been loads of pitfalls and stuff, you know, or opportunities that you think are going to really take you somewhere, and then you get let down, and then you get sad or whatever, and you know, or just personal life things that hold you back from your creative pursuits because you know you're struggling for other reasons, and you know, but God, if you suffer in any capacity, you write fucking good music when you've suffered. That's the thing.
Yeah, true,
like
very true.
Yeah.
Because it's coming from a very deep place.
And
deep,
something that
personal,
everyone has suffered and people can connect to it because everyone's like, oh yeah, I felt like that.
Relatable, yeah, absolutely, I agree. Liz, did you study music?
No. Oh my gosh.
Somebody finally that I agree with.
I'm just like...
I was studying music though, but I agree with you still. Okay.
What, you have studied it?
I haven't studied it.
But you're like, I thought it was terrible.
Why not? Why not to study?
I don't get it. It's like, I get it. Like in...
Why do you think people study?
Some people's brains are just geared to it. Some people's minds just work that way.
Okay.
Mine just doesn't. I've got a lot of respect for people who study music and know their theory and they know all the ins and outs of a duck's ass. That's amazing. I can't do that. And to be honest, I'm a little bit jealous because I would love to actually know. I would love to know what's going to work before I even try. Okay. You know, like the knowledge would be amazing.
Okay.
But then there's also that kind of, there's that fun kind of sense of satisfaction when you do play something and it works and you think, that's magic.
Wow.
And you don't know why I don't know why it works, but I'm just like, clearly because magic, and that's why. But yeah, I think that for me, only because My brain's like busy. If someone was going to sit me down and explain why a piece of music that I'd written worked, it would take the kind of fun out of it for me. I'd be like, I don't want to know why it works. Like, I just like to hear it, listen to it, or create music that just sounds good. Because I think that fundamentally that's one of the most important things. Does it sound good? Does it appeal? No, for you, if you, like for your own self, if you're writing music, there's no point in writing something you don't like the sound of. So you'd be sick of it. You'd never play it. But or if I'm listening to a piece of music, I understand emotionally why it works, but not technically. Because then that element of magic for me might get lost.
We do still have a lot of brilliant musicians who have, as you said as well, who haven't got a clue what they're doing, but they're doing a brilliant job, because music at the end of the day comes from here. It doesn't come from here. Your brain is literally like a tool that you would be able to analyze it and dissect it, right? But at the end of the day, if it doesn't hit here, it doesn't really mean a thing.
Yeah, it's not going to connect.
Does it? And it's not going to connect, and it's not going to be relatable. Living a musician life is a different life than a normal life. I don't know how much can we agree on that. Like a normal job, you go to work 9 to 5, 8, 9 hours, 10 hours a day, and you come back home, right? But as a musician, because especially in the beginning, there are so many things that you got to work on. Especially in the beginning, singing, songwriting, composition, arranging, mixing, recording, mastering, and then when the song is ready, that's just the beginning. Then you got to get to the promotional side of it, which is a whole other world, right? So you're doing 20 jobs at the same time on your own to make it work, okay? When you get into a relationship, how does that gonna work? How would you do it to make sure that you're having a good personal life, but at the same time, you're in a relationship and you would be able to manage that as well?
I think that, like, for me, whenever I've been in a relationship, it's been difficult to maintain because I need to be alone. Like, if I'm gonna be writing music, or I need to be,
that's one of the things.
Like I have to be alone. Like I'm one of the most sociable people. I love people, but like
at the same time,
get away if I need to be writing something. And also, like, even though I've performed in front of loads of people, it doesn't bother me. Like I said, I feel safe in front of people. If I'm playing something that's unfinished, or if I'm practicing in the house, the idea of being overheard just makes me go, no. Like, I hate it so much because it's not performance. It's not finished. So I'm like, no one can hear.
Get out of here.
I'm like, here's a fiver, good pull for can't. But it's just sort of, it makes me feel uncomfortable when it's, that's just a me thing, I guess. But I'm sure that there are loads of people who feel the same. It's because obviously, let's say for instance your partner's working 9 to 5 or something, and then you'll be gigging up in the evening, so you won't see each other as well. So there's that, because obviously evenings are gig times, aren't they? So there's kind of like, you've got to try and create your own structure as well in your day, because there's, like I said, there are things you're supposed to do on social media. There are, you're constantly emailing venues and just trying to get work, trying to get things, learning a set of covers that you couldn't care less about just so you can get some money.
True. I think it needs definitely some kind of an understanding, and as you said, maybe some kind of a structure.
Of course,
that you would be able to work your way around it and make sure, because obviously it needs attention, both of them, and your career and your personal relationship. I think entrepreneurs and musicians have a lot of things in common.
Except the income.
Yeah, that's true. That's the only difference. Well, I think initially for entrepreneur it works the same way.
Oh yeah, of course.
Initially they have to work their butt off, but it's not gonna give them a good payout for a considerable amount of time, then, which is similar to being a musician. Liz, how do you network?
Because I've been gigging for such a long time, you just pick up people along the way. Like, you meet people, talk to people, always, like, any gigs that you play at, talk to everyone, talk to the photographer, talk to the sound engineer, just be be nice as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't be a dickhead. Like, don't
That's a
walk.
good tip. I'm not gonna lie.
Don't walk into a venue and be like, "Oh, I'm playing. I'm amazing." Just like be humble. You know,
Oh, absolutely.
everyone's there doing a job. They're all different jobs. They're all important jobs. The person serving you pints at the bar is doing just as much of an important job as you are. You're there to keep everyone happy, essentially. So yeah, I mean, like I've just met, just obviously because if anyone who's working at a gig, you know, be it like a sound engineer or a musician, whoever, you're obviously all involved in the same industry. You're all like-minded. So just talk, introduce yourself, you know, don't be above it. Don't be a dickhead.
That's like to sum it up.
Basically.
I agree with you 100%. You gotta keep your mind open to the things that can happen to you.
Exactly, and be interested in each other's craft as well. Just because I'm not a sound engineer doesn't mean that it doesn't absolutely blow me mind. I couldn't if like I'm just me and technology just we don't gel. Like if it's got buttons, I'll make it break. Like I'm just bad at technology. Like I would much rather kind of like send a pigeon to someone than an email. But like it's, but you know that doesn't mean that after you've done a gig, go to the sound engineer, say thank you. I could hear myself beautifully on stage. Like you did a good job. Don't know how you did it, but it was good. You know, be interested in what other people are doing. Like you might have someone who's on stage after you who's playing a completely different genre of music and it might not be something that you will go through and listen to, but, you know, appreciate it, understand it, and just be thankful to be around those people, especially when you've got, and if you've just played, don't talk for other people's sets. Gives me the ick, massively. Respect each other and respect each other's roles in that kind of, you know, in that kind of environment.
A good work is a teamwork.
Yeah, of course, because if you're a dickhead, then the sound engineer is going to make you sound terrible as well. So
Ooh, that's another good tip, to be honest.
It's wet now and
that's another good tip. Liz, tell me, do you have plan B? So how does it work in your mind? What do you tell yourself? This is the only plan that
this has got to work.
Okay.
It's like, you know, when people sort of say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm like, would you rather have a basket for each egg? That's so weird. Like, this is something that, like, I kind of, I've done this to myself. I've put myself in this situation and it is scary. But at the same time, though, you need to have that fire under your ass, otherwise you're not going to move. So it's, yeah, I have got no plan B. It's this or I don't know. So
where is that plan A?
I think just if I could make a living off music alone, and I mean like it doesn't have to be incredible, it don't have to be like, you know,
make a living
super rich and famous and whatever, you know, just kind of like I think when you're young you kind of like I want to be rich and famous. But like it's just if I could do what I love and make a living out of that and be able to go to new places and play in places that, you know, outside of the norm, live a life less ordinary sort of thing, that would be a dream. That would be everything, because you know, if I got to do this properly, like not just kind of like scratching around for covers gigs and whatever, if I could do this properly, it would be, I wouldn't have to work a day in my life. I would be enjoying it so much. I wouldn't care how exhausted I was. I wouldn't care, you know, about anything negative on social media, anything like that. I would just be like, well, I'm creating music and performing music, and that's all I've cared about for a very long time. Well, not all I've cared about, but, you know, career-wise, it's all I've cared about.
Tell me some of your challenges that you faced in your musical career as a musician and as an individual. I want you to tell me something that really hit hard and it was hard to handle.
How long have you got?
Oh, exactly. Okay.
So really, like the last kind of 5 years has been very hard. Obviously, we all had lockdown. No musician could do anything over that time. Prior to that, I was with someone who wasn't very nice, to put it lightly. It was, you know, very kind of like abusive situation. And that was, I struggled, obviously at that time. It was like I couldn't open my mouth to sing. I just used to cry. Like it was just, I was barely even functioning. It was really unhealthy. And when that was over, it took me a while to recover mentally, you know, and it's the annoying thing is, the thing that infuriates me is that the more people you talk to about that kind of experience, the more people you realise that have been through it as well. Like, just generally abusive situations, which is, it's so sad. And then you start to kind of get talking about it and you realise how many people connected with such a horrible thing.
Of course.
So after that, at the end, this is the end of October 2019, something really weird happened to my body and I lost all the feeling and motor skills in my entire right side.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't play guitar, I couldn't walk, I couldn't do anything. And
when was that?
That was October 2019.
Wow.
Yeah. And so it was not ideal, to put it that way.
Wow.
And they thought I'd had a stroke because of there's a mass in that side of my brain. They thought I'd had a stroke. And then then they said, oh, we don't know what it is. And then a year passed where I didn't know what was wrong with me. I just had this thing in my brain and I had all these weird symptoms. And then it was pretty much almost exactly 12 months later that I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So
what is that?
It's a really weird condition where your immune system doesn't know what the fuck's going on and it attacks your nervous system.
Wow.
So it causes like scar tissue on the brain and nerve damage, and it's kind of an ironic twist of fate that a guitarist has got this.
Wow.
But there are quite a few musicians and out there who've got it. I'm actually friends with a couple. But
what happened in that moment that you realized that you're in such a condition?
I think the worst bit was that year where I didn't know. I think not knowing was a much darker place once, because it kind of felt like you're in a completely pitch black room and you're supposed to fight an opponent but you can't see them. Do you know what I mean? You don't know. It was, how do I defend myself against like this faceless enemy when you don't understand what's going on? Once the diagnosis hit, that was like, because it's incurable, everyone with MS has got a completely different symptoms, different there are a lot of shared symptoms, but each case is different, so it affects you on a personal level different to the next person and so on. So it's understanding your new symptoms and understanding what's been going on, because when I thought back into the past, I was like, yeah, I've been experiencing loads of things, but when you think it's normal, you don't realise. And it was only when this attack happened that I was like, that ain't normal. Wow. So I didn't handle it well. I don't know anyone who really would. I mean, it was, I was just really fucking depressed, obviously, because you think to yourself, I know what it's like to not be able to walk. I know what it's like to not be able to play guitar. And I thought, like, I've been playing guitar for, at that point, 17, 18 years at that point, and I'd put my whole life, all of my life since the age of 11 into this thing that I adore, and I'm like, I know now, even 5 minutes from now, like I could have another attack and it could get taken away. I don't know. And
did you get to the bottom of it to know like what was the reason it happened, or?
Oh, we don't know. Like no one knows why people get it.
Wow.
It's just like a mystery. Fun. But so the way that I kind of have to think around it, because it's really easy to let that shit take over your head, because it's terrifying when you first find out any kind of news like that, not just me, but millions of people everywhere who've got something like a chronic illness, or the way that I sort of get my head around it is that anything can happen to anyone at any time. Which means that someone who's seemingly healthy could just drop dead. It happens, crazy things happen to people all the time. I'm no exception. You're no exception. And that sounds kind of negative, but but when you sort of think about it just for what it is, it just sort of means that just because I've got insight and I know that I've got this thing, this weird disease, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have a future or that I should be living in fear, because anything can happen to anyone.
You don't know what's going to happen in a minute.
The only thing that kind of like scares you is that once you have insight and you kind of know what it feels like to have something horrible like that, obviously you're frightened of it happening again. But so that's kind of the only difference, because it's kind of like being given like a taste of that reality.
Of course.
But yeah, just keeps, I guess, I don't know, stay positive, keep smiling.
So how do you cope with it now? What is your advice to somebody who is facing the same kind of symptoms, that you can tell, okay, I've done these kind of things and these worked for me. Try it, maybe it works.
Keep moving is one. If you can keep moving, even there are some days where I struggle to walk up my own stairs and stuff. It's because every day's different. It's really bizarre. It's just take each day as it comes. Don't expect too much of yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you can't do something, because you might have a plan to do something tomorrow, and then when the day comes, you can barely lift your head off the pillow and you're like, oh my god, I'm exhausted, because like fatigue is a big part of it. But yeah, don't beat yourself up. The next day is also a new day. So when you're feeling terrible, I think the way that it affects you mentally is a lot worse in some cases than how it affects you physically, because it's, if your mental health goes, your body kind of follows.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, just be gentle with yourself, and that's physically and mentally. Don't expect too much of yourself. Don't get upset if you can't achieve something that you wanted to achieve that day. And then on days that you feel more energetic and more capable, use those days to your full potential.
Embrace it. And
embrace it, totally.
Do you do anything physically, meaning that do you exercise, do you meditate, do you take a cold shower, do you think anything?
I had my first cold bath today, because I've heard
today?
That
it's brilliant. Isn't it just?
Oh my god!
I do it every single day.
Really?
In the morning, yeah.
I could only do it for like...
Cold bath or cold shower?
Bath.
Bath is obviously a lot more heavier.
But I just had a warm bath. And, I was all like full of bubbles, enjoying myself, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the cold bath. I'm going to fucking do it. So then I was there in my towel, just like watching the bath fill up with cold water, and I was like, oh, this is supposed to be good for me, but
looking at it, it makes you a bit cold.
And then I got into it, and like I know that you're supposed to, I didn't put my head under it because that was just too much. But I did up to the neck.
Okay.
And I was like hyperventilating, and then I had to get out, and I was probably only in it for about like 15 seconds or 15 something.
Seconds. That's still good for the first time.
Yeah, it was too much. And then, but then I felt terrible, and then about a minute after, I felt amazing.
Ooh, that's where it kicks in.
So good.
It's
I'm going to do it again tomorrow.
It's brilliant.
So that's something, because one of my friends, Anna, Afterglow Anna, she has herself, she's like, teaches yoga and stuff, and she does cold water therapy in the docks in Liverpool. Like, so you jump in a wetsuit and stuff, and I was like, no, she's mad. But she was saying about how good it is for people with chronic illness, because she's done a lot of research into
Absolutely.
it. And I was like,
Great.
Absolutely. I'm not gonna jump in the docks anytime soon, but I was like, I've got a bath at home, so I'll give that a go. And yeah, I think I might become an addict.
I hate the cold.
I do.
But don't tell anyone. But every single morning, I get up in the morning. That's the first thing I do. Then I get to the gym. Right after it.
It's supposed to like help with depression, help increase your immune system, which for me, because obviously I've got an autoimmune disease, that's why I get ill so much. It's why I couldn't record over like the entire Christmas period, because I got like 3 chest infections in like 2 months. So gross. But like, so it's difficult. Yeah, I figured like screw it, a bit of cold, it's not gonna kill me, and if it helps my immune system, I'm all over it. But yeah, I think I'm going to become addicted. I think I'm going to do it tomorrow. Thanks
for sharing. It's important to show that as much as we look like amazing on our social platforms...
Oh, it's all a lie, man. No, it's difficult. It's difficult. I mean, do you know what, though? I will say, when I got diagnosed, I did put it on my social media. And the most beautiful thing happened. There were so many people with MS who just came out of the woodwork and messaged me. People that I don't know at all, people from all over the world that came out and messaged me. Loads of them were offering me support and stuff, because there's people who are younger than me, older than me, all genders, whatever.
Of course.
And they were offering me support, saying like, it's okay, stay strong, the early stages of getting used to the new information are the worst bits, and so on. And then there were other people who were just really glad that someone was talking about it publicly, and they were thanking me, and I was like, what are you thanking me for? Like, do thank me, like, you're dealing with it as well.
In that moment, that person is thanking you to having the courage to speak up, because he or she didn't have the courage to do, maybe so.
Possibly, yeah. Because I think some people maybe are like embarrassed by it, or no one likes to it's difficult to accept that you've essentially got like what you'd initially consider to be like a weakness, because it does feel like a weakness at first, and then you sort of realise that obviously like what we were saying before, it's the challenges in life that make you stronger and make you the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's a tough one.
Liz, tell me, do you think talent exists or is purely work ethic? And why?
Ooh, I think that I would say like, because when people sort of say, oh, you're so talented, and I'm like, I've been playing.
I've worked really hard.
Yeah, I've been playing guitar for 20 years. So, but at the same time, though, I think that you can have a natural affinity with something. Like, for instance, the fact that I was really obsessed with playing guitar, that was imperative. You know, it was an imperative part of me becoming good. Because if I wasn't desperately obsessed with it, then I would never have got to any kind of good stage.
Of course.
It's like, so kind of like, I think that being connected to a certain thing, a certain craft, a certain instrument, I think that exists, that kind of emotional or sort of mental connection. When it comes to talent, I don't know, like, I kind of think, when I think about talent, I imagine someone who just picks up an instrument and they can just play it. You know what I mean? That to me is like...
Yeah, that's some magic, to be fair with you. What do you think the most important lesson that you learned in your life?
Well, like musically or just in general or...
The spectrum
universally.
of life.
Oh, the spectrum of life. A lot of lessons, really, have come from my mum. She passed away last year.
Sorry to hear that.
It's another one of the challenges. So, and I think she was my, like, emotional, spiritual, like, mentor, like, everything about her. Like, I always sort of think, like, if I can become, like, half the woman she was, I'll have done a really good job, you know?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That you look up to her that much. That's
I still adore her, like, limitlessly. Yeah.
How do you overcome such a feeling? Because I would definitely say that's a very hard-hitting
It nearly killed me, to be honest.
Experience.
Yeah.
That is.
She always, like, it didn't matter, like, when I was kind of, like, more insecure, like, within music and stuff, and, like, she would always be, if I started, I don't know, if I wrote a chorus, I'd be like, Mum, what do you think of this? And I'd always be like, Mum, and I'd always go to her. She'd be the first person that I'd play anything to. And she'd always be listening to music, so she'd turn the music off, and she would just be really intently, you know. And she'd answer me honestly as well. She wouldn't just go, oh, it's brilliant. She wouldn't just go, that's amazing, Lily, my daughter. She'd be like, well, you know, and she'd be really constructive with me. And all I've wanted to do is make her proud, and I still do, you know, just because she's not here doesn't mean I'm going to stop chasing that. But, yeah, the support was just limitless, like, just you know, amazing... the source of love and everything. Because I always used to say to her when I was insecure, I'd be like, Mum, do you think I'm going to be successful? Do you think I'm going to do it? And she always used to look at me right in the eye and just go, I've never doubted you for a second. And that is just what she always used to say. And whenever I feel, obviously this last year, I mean, like, it was only January last year that I lost her. So I pretty much just stopped. Like, everything just stopped. My world stopped turning. And, you know, I started to kind of come back into music again. Well, I remember the first time I realised I was going to be okay in terms of still being able to be creative, because, like, I just didn't know how, because my head was upside down, everything was upside down, and I didn't know how to express myself, because I was in so much pain. Like, the pain was so bad, it felt like the grief alone could have actually killed me. Like, it was that horrific. And I didn't want to be here, you know, it was that simple, like, you know, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And I think that a lot of people feel like that when you lose someone close. But I remember I was in the shower, and I just started writing, like, lyrically and musically, just in my head, just lyrics about my mum. Just, I was just washing my hair or something, and it just happened. And I was like, I'm going to be okay. Like, this is... Because that's how I always deal with everything. If I've got a problem, or if I've got something that hurts, or something that feels great, or anything, people keep a diary, I will write a song about it. You know, that's my outlet. That's my thing. It helps me. If other people enjoy it, that's great. But, like, when it comes to... I mean, I'll write songs for other people, but generally speaking, it's just a huge part of the, like, emotional kind of experience of a person. I think that most songwriters are like that. So yeah, when I realised that I was in this horrific pain, but it took months and months and months, and then the lyrics just started coming to me, and my brain was back to that stage where it can be creatively productive with an emotion and go, right, this is how you're going to deal with this. Write something, otherwise you're going to explode, you know? So, yeah.
So how do you turn something hard-hitting as that into a source of drive?
Yeah, because at first you're doing it in spite of it. You know what I mean? You're not doing it because you're just like you don't know why you're carrying on in the early stages. Like I say, I was suicidal. I actually tried to end my life. I don't think there shouldn't be any stigma about that. I don't think I'm quite honest. I think that's something that a lot of people go through more so than people talk about, I think.
Sure.
And so this last 12 months has been enormous in terms of like a kind of like a transformative journey. I just sort of think that there's a close circle of friends that I've had around me, along with my sister and stuff as well, have just been amazing. And I think that because I always knew that no matter what I did, whether I was playing a huge gig or creating this amazing music or doing whatever, you know, I knew, or if I was just, you know, I don't know, or if I was taking some time out because it was too much or whatever, I knew that my mum would always be proud of me. It didn't matter how productive I was being from day to day, she was just immensely proud of me, which was everything. And I think that pride was my drive for such a long time, and everything that I was doing I wanted to do for her more so than myself. And just because she's not with us, you know,
doesn't mean
body,
that she can't really
exactly
feel. Okay, I
so
understand.
It's just making her proud still.
I just want to again emphasize and say thank you for being so honest, and thank you for sharing your very deep and personal and hard-hitting experience in life with us. If you weren't a musician, who would you be?
Oh my God.
In the world? There is no instruments, there is no music, there is no music-related jobs. Who would
This is
you
horrible.
be? Who would you be?
Artist, painter. I paint as well.
Painter, oh? Still creative, still
I
kind
can't
of...
do maths, I can't do anything practical. I would either be a painter or like a baker. I love baking. I love cooking.
What do you do to look after your mental and physical body?
Yeah, do you know what I do? I do meditate actually.
Brilliant way of bringing some kind of balance to life.
Just to center yourself, just focus on your breathing for a bit and just feel connected to everyone, you know, because we all have shit days, we all have great days, you know, and just to kind of remember that everything's transient. If you're having a great day, that's gonna go, and if you're having a terrible day, that's gonna go, it's just allowing things to come and go and do that sort of thing. But I've got 2 cats who I love. They help me a lot.
How long have you had them for?
6 years. I've had them since they were kittens.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Does it help to have a pet?
Oh yeah, totally. It was something else to focus on, something to take care of, you know.
Sure.
I guess it gives you purpose when you're feeling shitty, but
absolutely.
But yeah, I do go out on walks, even on days where I can't walk so great. I've got a stick, very cool. But like I will still go. Like it's important to.
That's it. You got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do what you got to do. Doesn't matter how you feel, because
you'll feel better afterwards.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even with like the MS sort of thing, like even if it's just a small bit, it's the act of going out and doing something for yourself. Do you know what I mean? That was that time. You could go on a walk that lasts for like 3 minutes on a really bad day. It doesn't matter. The point is you got yourself out, so you didn't sit at home thinking, oh my God, this is too, like, I'm in a situation where I can't do this. Or, I mean, even, this is going to sound so bad, but like even like on days where I really do struggle, like even just walking to the end of the drive and just talking to a neighbour and then going back inside the house again, if I really am that exhausted.
It makes a massive difference.
Of course it does, because it's like meditating as well, because you've allotted time where no one in the world needs you. It's just for you.
That's it.
And that could be 5 minutes, but it's everything.
If you want to make a prediction to say how we're going to consume music in 20 years, what would that be?
I don't think that live performance will go, because I think that there is nothing nothing that compares to live music, nothing that
Okay.
compares to a gig.
Okay.
But I cannot see CDs lasting.
Okay.
People, you'll always have like vinyl enthusiasts and stuff, so people who like the kind of like the more, you know, like kind of vintage kind of vibe and stuff, because people like to have the physical thing, and they always get people like that.
Sure.
I think that there'll be social media platforms just for music. You know, where it's kind of like imagine like an Instagram, but instead of it being a photo sharing thing, it would be like
Music sharing.
yeah, like predominantly music. Maybe music
Similar to TikTok.
yeah,
Kind of.
but like, you know, without
Well,
dancing children, you know.
So, tell me 3 things that when you want to walk out of here today, you want to do.
I'm gonna smile at someone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna message someone and tell them that I love them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely gonna crack out the guitar and play it when I get home.
3 things that you're grateful for.
Today,
Okay.
I woke up and you know I'm not dead. So today,
I really appreciate like every single day that you are able to get out of the bed.
all the people that have supported me over this last year, and there's a lot of them, and the people that support me musically as well. Just basically all the people, all the supportive people, and I'm just thankful for music in itself.
Liz Owen,
Mm-hmm.
last words.
Thank you, obviously, and it doesn't matter how bad things get, you are always doing so much better than you think you are. That is true. I can guarantee that.
Brilliant. Everybody, Liz Owen, I'm going to put all the links to her social media down in the description. Make sure you go there, give her a follow, go listen to all the music links that I'm going to put down there as well. Go have a listen to them, stream them, and support her. Liz Owen, thank you very much for coming. That's what we do at the end of the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.